But I have three kids, right? Okay. And I see a lot of people that came from a great family. Like, okay, that guy became a successful, that guy's in prison, this guy's in the military, that guy, everything's bad in his life since he was a kid. How much of it is the teacher, the example, how much of it is the individual, how much of it is the environment?
Martine, he's talking about a lot of subjects right here. He's talking about the environment, who we hang out with, everything, the mindset. But I just want to make something really clear here. It always starts with mom and dad, grandpa and grandma, and so on and so on. The bloodline is 3 to 4 generations. So you could have a part of you, the way you think of mom, and a part of dad. It may be a part of grandpa. So I just wanted to make that point before we go in further to this video.
Yeah, because he is asking her question and he is worried about, what he see around him. And he's asking question for his children also. And this is our point. You said something very important, Alan. The generational stuff, 3 to 4 generations, going to try to match you with the environment to feed what was sold from generation. Yeah. And this is a point very important that I explain in my book, Zikaron, The Memory of Generation. This is the law of environment. And I think she's going to continue to talk about it. But it's multi-factors that feed the paradigms that is working behind the scene that try to recreate themselves generation to after generation. You cannot conquer what you don't confront, and you cannot confront what you don't identify. And this is the point. We can continue with her answer, but the identification is deeper than just the brain.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. Because she's an expert in the brain and she's very good on that. But the kind of question Patrick is asking is
for his
a
children.
Deeper question. Yeah, exactly.
He's worried about what's going to happen with his children, because he's got all this money. What's going to happen to them?
The voice is in the blood, the memory of generation, the cells, that is now proved scientifically. But it's an influence working behind the scene. This voice, inside and out, will recreate themselves the same pattern.
We've got our 2 kids in the family, and one's negative and one is...
But I have 3 kids, right? Okay. And I see a lot of people that came from a great family. Like, okay, that guy became a successful, that guy's in prison, this guy's in the military, that guy, everything's bad in his life since he was a kid. This person's parents lived a decent life. How much of that is them? Like, how you talk about teacher versus the individual? How much of it is the teacher, the example? How much of it is the individual? How much of it is the environment? So I'm just trying
teacher environment is all one category. So that's nurture. So under nurture, we would have all of those things you described. So you're born with your physical, and then you've got nurture. Then you've got the I factor. So the I factor is the dominant one.
Now he's asking question. He can see a lot of people around him, friends or some people, and he look at their children, and they don't turn necessarily like their parents. I have a good example, Paris Hilton, for years, she had the kind of rebellion and all these things, division happened in the family. But if we look at the paradigm in the family, we're going to always see this kind of pattern that some of the child will turn against his parents. It can be the firstborn, the girl, whatever. It's a pattern. We can see that. And nothing new under the sun. A fruit never fall away from the tree. That this reaction of this child is because it's coming, and often we forget the second, not the second, but the other spouse. You have 2 parents together, and 2 to 4 bloodline and more that work together to try to recreate a pattern, and sometimes it's jump a generation to the other. And this is what is missing right now.
Money always amplifies who you are. Whatever, if you're a giver, you're good to people, money will absolutely increase that. But if there's something, a pattern of mom or grandpa, stuff hidden, maybe there's stuff that never the family spoke about, what happened, adultery, whatever, could be behind the scene. It pops up into one of your kids. Now you're saying, how come he's doing this stuff? There's an influence. This is the synergy between the two worlds, the invisible world and the natural. People forget about God. God has a lot to say. He says, I will curse 3 to 4 generation for this, right? And then he gives us the laws to overpower that first decree, because we all have the power with his laws and his influence in our lives to change the pattern with the tools he gives us. But my point is, if your child, like you were talking about Paris Hilton, even Patrick Davis kids, there's maybe something that's going to pop up of grandpa or grandma or the uncle this. There was stuff in the bloodline. There is his wife and his him. And there's a lot of stuff going on spiritually. And that kid, maybe one will be more like his mom and the other one more like his dad. The firstborn is very special because God says the firstborn, is something else. So we got to analyze all this stuff, Martine.
I have 3 points here. First point I want to talk about is you said that because Yeshua paid the price at the cross to set us free. He came and said, in my name, I give you power, dominion over the illegal.
Yeah.
Then when we're born again, we receive this second decree to fight in the name of Yeshua to destroy the illegal in our life, because he tried to stay illegally in our life, like the law said, for 3 to 4 generations to 10 generations. And if we don't use that, we don't identify. You cannot conquer what you don't identify. You don't identify that. You just think it's all in the flesh and the natural. And you're never going to overcome, the real source of the problem. You're going to try to fix all the time the manifestation instead to fix the source.
Yeah.
And this is where the majority of people, they're fighting. They try to fix the manifestation. We have to go to the source. Hey, the Wilkie is here. Click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified every time we post a new video, and we can stay connected together and we can continue to invest in your life.